Hi there, welcome to the Shoegazing 93 channel once again, the channel that celebrates itself without any shame whatsoever. And this evening I watched Rick Beato's latest video, which featured an interview with this band, Adam Franklin from Swervedriver. Obviously he talked about Swervedriver many times, but this time Adam was actually in the studio with Rick, actually in person. So it made it extra special. It was about 15 minutes long. I wish it was a bit longer. Like, you could have got at least 45 minutes out of him. But Rick spoke about the playing and the alternate tunings on the tracks Duel, Girl on the Motorbike and Planes Over the Skyline. And they are all tracks from Mezcal Head, with Planes Over the Skyline being a B-side. But I think it was added on to like later versions of the album. But anyway, it was really cool. Good to see one of my guitar heroes on there. More exposure for Swervedriver. And after watching it, I kind of came up with kind of made me think really about what Rick Beato could potentially do. The potential that he doesn't realize the power that he's actually got beneath him if he wanted to change music. You know, you hear his ramblings about him wanting to change music, and yeah, rightly so. It needs to be less fragmented, with people listening on Spotify, YouTube, and you know, not just the platforms, but it's just fragmented in terms of people are listening to all sorts. There's no monoculture anymore, where a big TV event happens and a band performs on it and everyone knows that band or artist. And I think with Rick Beato, his 4.66 million subscribers, and plus all of the ones who aren't subscribed, he's got mega potential to actually start something and actually get music back to where it needs to be with independent labels actually challenging the top 40 and building that middle ground like Creation Records and 4AD and Rough Trade. All of those scions did, like McGee and Jeff Travis and Ivor Watts Russell. And I was thinking that he's got everything in place. You know, he's got the studio in New York, Rochester. You know, a big musically thriving city. Massive population, massive potential to bring sign bands, you know, watch bands and sign them. And he's got the studio and he's got the know-how, the technical expertise, which is really important for my next point, because he can actually, the bands, if he wants to start up a record label, if he wants to do that, then Rick Beato could potentially just sign bands, a big roster, and then instead of paying them advances and using his own money to fund for studios, he doesn't need to, because he's already got a massive studio himself. So he can actually record his own bands. He can record the bands he signs. So he doesn't need to invest in the bands. He can just share in their profits, streaming and physical copy profits. So what I'm trying to say is that Rick Beato just got massive potential. He just doesn't realise it. He's just kind of doing his YouTube thing for entertainment. But if you think about it, if he could invest, change his course to being a record label owner, then he's got the power to decide what bands are on his roster. Yeah, because you know he's always fussy about his tastes, so he can actually have the power to sign them, and then he can provide the studio space. Not only that, but he's got the expertise to actually record them as well, because that's what he is. He is a music producer. where he did most of his work in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I think he's missing the trick. I think if Rick Beato put his priorities into a different sector rather than just YouTube, I think that I think a record label especially would that would actually allow him to get his own way. So that's what that Swervedriver interview with Adam Franklin kind of it brought up in my head, really. That's what I got out of it. I was just thinking about, you know, he's bringing up an obscure group like Swervedriver. What about if he does that to newer artists? Because it has to be new, remember, you know, it can't be a band from 30, 40 years ago. That's what Swervedriver are. But what I'm trying to say is that Swervedriver are at least they're quite obscure and niche. So if you can do that for a niche artist, then you can do it for more modern, new, upcoming people as well. So yeah, like I said, he's got the facilities, he's got the know-how, and he's got the following. He's created a center point. That's the thing. In a fragmented music listening society, he's got a focal point there where he's got 4.6 million subscribers. So he's just as powerful as like an actual TV channel. So yeah, he could be the next Creation Records. He is our like top of the pops at the moment. A lot of the stuff I know that goes on in music is due to his channel. So he's got the pull factor. So he could start up a label easily, and he can cater it to his own tastes, and then we've got this big indie rock movement going on. So yeah, that's what I think. Thanks for watching. Is Rick Beato missing the trick?